Hello, it's Tristan here from Zebra Invest, and today I'm going through one of the most asked questions here on YouTube. It's how can you find a cheap property for sale? And cheap, I don't think cheap's always what you're looking for because it depends what your strategy is. But I'm going to be going through this video and explaining how you can find cheap properties, how you can find ones that are probably the best value for money. So if you're looking to build your portfolio, whether it's through doing buy, refurbish, refinance, or you're looking to simply pick up cheap properties, put them into your portfolio and keep hold of them, whether you're looking to buy stuff cheap because it's on the pound per square foot. So if other stuff is in your area is all selling for £400 a square foot and you're able to pick it up for £300 a square foot, well, that in my eyes is certainly a cheap, good value deal. We might look at taking a look at how you use something like property data or property filter towards the end of it, whether you look at doing direct to vendor or even hunting down and finding empty properties. But what I'll do is I'm going to jump in and show you the most simplest way. And if you haven't tried this already, it should be your first stop on how to find cheap properties. So what we're going to do here is just head straight over to RightMove. And here you can see I've just got search open, but you can simply just put in what your area is. So I'm in Norwich. And I'm just going to put in for sale. I always tend to try and look for houses because houses tend to perform and they're going to have less maintenance issues, hopefully, than other properties. So what I'm going to do here is say I want a 3-bedroom house. What I'm going to do is do that within, say, 20 miles. And the whole idea is here is you're going to get every single property roughly in your area. And the obvious thing that you can do, and if you haven't done this already, it's quite a simple way to be able to identify and find properties. Jump in and find properties that are at the very cheapest end of the market. And here you start seeing a few properties that are auction properties, and they could be good little opportunities to take a look at. But it also then means sometimes for me, I don't tend to look that far outside of Norwich. But if you are looking to buy cheaper properties to then work through, that could be a good way of doing it. And obviously you can do exactly the same if you were, say, on the market, and you can then do the same style thing. And you would be able to look for the lowest price and then again, whittle through those and try and work out which one, if any of them, is actually going to be a deal. Here, evidently, there's a little bit of land for sale. It looks absolutely tiny, but I wonder why they're sitting there at that kind of price. But that could be quite interesting to take a look at. But the other bit that I do quite like doing as well is when you are looking for property, you want to spot whether someone's going to be motivated to sell. One of the bits I have here is I have got some plugins in, and that's what's showing whether the price has gone up, down, whether they've gone up, how they've moved. I've got another video on that. So if you do want to learn how to use plugins, then please take a look at that video after this, and you can go through and find those bits to be able to help you spot motivated sellers. So the next thing I do is try and focus on what's going to put other people off from buying a property. And one of the simple things you can do on RightMove, and you can also do this on Zoopla, and I've done a Zoopla thing all about how you can use keywords, but if you can just specify that you only want to find auction properties. Zoopla can be a little bit better, and I'll just show you that, as it allows you to filter properties. So you can simply say, look, I want to have all those properties within that large area, but I want to make sure properties are chain free, they're price reduced, and then by doing that, we can then turn around and say, we're only going to be able to spot, and I'm going to stick this up to 20 miles as well, and go for the lowest price. We're now definitely finding those properties where they're chain free, you've got sellers who are struggling with them, and then want to get rid of them. This is interesting here. You can see where we've got the little notification there. There's a property that's auction, it's leasehold, it's been reduced multiple times, and it's a 1-bedroom property. So there's got to be a good opportunity there at that flat in Dis. And that's quite a good way to be able to find properties within your patch that are simply cheap. But the question really is, as I said earlier, it's not about cheap, it's about good value. So how can you jump on and find those? And I'm going to show you that right now. When you're looking for properties or something that's going to put people off, something called modern method of auction really puts off buyers. And the reason being is whenever you buy one of these properties, it means that you have to pay the fee to purchase the property up front. You're effectively paying the agent's fee. So when you go onto Zoopla, you can simply go into the keyword section here and use with the inverted commas modern method. This means we're only going to have properties coming up that are on the market for sale that are using the modern method of auction. It just so happens to be these properties that I've looked at already are coming up here. Look, you've got 38.5% reduced since May, last reduced, and these are quite literally the property that people are just desperate to get rid of. And you see when you click into here for a flat, it's turning around saying it's got 81 years left on the lease, which is plenty enough time to extend it. It's for sale by modern method of auction, which really puts people off. It's quite a neat way to then be able to identify and find a property. On the right-hand side, you can see one of my plugins just running there. I'm using property data. I'll mention a discount code and a 14-day free trial for that at the end if you want to jump on and have a go at that. But you can see here, this is just the way I'm using RightMove or Zoopla or on the market just to be able to pick up and find these deals. And again, here, that's a nice short lease on there. You get that extended, and then you'd be able to uplift the value of that property. So look, the next thing I said to you was, look, we go direct to vendor to try and find cheap deals. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head over to Gumtree and I'm going to head over to Facebook. And I'm going to show you exactly where we might be able to find those deals. So I'll kick off and show you Gumtree. Most of you, if you aren't already looking on here, this is where you do tend to pick up people who are trying to sell the property. They've got the end of their tether and they want to sell their property. So it's not necessarily going to be the cheapest deal, but it's certainly going to be someone you can work with who's going to be motivated and want to sell their property. So what we simply do is click property. We want to say for sale. And then the next bit we want to do is say where we want it. And for me, I've got quite a large area. We'll go in Norwich. So we're going to say Norwich. And then we'll put a distance in again. I'm going to put in the 30 miles and we'll see what comes up around here. So here we got some coming up in Cromer on a holiday park. It's not quite what I'm looking for. We've got a couple of like deal sources here trying to tempt people in for deals that they're doing. And they're going to be in Stokes. They're not actually in Cambridge, but they're trying to target where they've got investors. But if we keep coming down and through, we can eventually we'll find someone who is looking to sell. And look, there's tons and tons of results of this. You can also do it so you can whittle it down so you only want to show those who are a private seller. We might want a garage, another chalet on the seaside, 2-bedroom coast. They're the same kind of style thing. But here we go. This is exactly what I was looking for. We've got a private seller in Lowestoft who's got a 3-bedroom house for £115,000. And again, they're the kind of person, they probably copy and paste their advert from somewhere else, and they're just desperate to try and get the property sold or moved on. And then again, if you come down, you can find more listings like this through here. And there's more of these things. Here we go, perfect for sale in, looking at that in Spalding. And again, Robert here, he's selling his property himself. And this could be a property that's worthwhile reaching out to him. And you see, look, he said detached house. He originally had it on for 315, but it'll take 299,000. So there is a bit of a discount there. But I said also, the other bit, Tristan, where else would you go? Let's head over to Facebook. So these are the places that other people simply aren't looking for. And you can come down on your left-hand side here and you can click and find properties that are for sale. Always be a little bit wary because there are some people out here who are trying to be a little bit devious and trying to find stuff in your area. So here we've got a couple of pizza places for sale. And we've got in Kidderminster, we've got a 7-bed, 2-bathroom. So it's got a house and by the looks of a pizza place in it. Takeaway, we've got another little place up there. And what we can do is I've got the mine set to 10 kilometers. But you might want to turn around and say set it to 60 and we see what else comes up. And this is really just to find anyone else who's in the area or they're getting to a point where they are desperately looking, trying to sell something. They're trying to do it a little bit of a different way. I can't tell you whether these are particularly cheap, but for me, it's a great way to be able to get in touch with someone who is looking to sell a property and they're obviously struggling. And this is, by the looks, in quite a nice large house. It's just probably in a little bit of a different property. But there we go. So that is on to Facebook. The next bit I was going to say was how can you use data? And this makes it a lot easier. And by a lot easier, granted, there is a monthly fee attached to it, but it's the best way to be able to identify and find properties where you've got a motivated seller and they are actually cheap for that area. Not just cheap overall and it's a cheap property, but if you are looking to buy, refurbish, refinance and do the deals, this is a great way to do it. I've done 1 or 2 videos on this before, but what I'm going to do is just head over to property data and I'll show you exactly how I do this myself so you can just copy it step by step if you sign up and use their 14-day free trial. So what we're going to do is we head over to property data. I'm already signed in. The pricing of this, I believe it starts around about the £14 a month for the basic level. You probably want to have a little bit of a layer up. But what you can do is you can find an area and search and save your own area. I've done this myself, but what I've done is just set up my areas for Norwich. So you can see here, this is Norwich for me. And I can just click up local data. And what this is going to do is going to pull all of the properties that are in the area and on the market. And what we can then do is use the pound per square foot. So the whole idea of this data here really is to give you an insight and understanding of how much properties are worth in your area. But by clicking pound per square foot, you can see what the average price is on the area, and anything on the far left-hand side is going to be something that is below the average price and it's larger than average. So there's usually opportunities here. So I'm just going to have a quick look through, and you know they're going to be cheaper than average because they're on the left. And so they are a cheap property, but in the area that you're looking to buy. That one is a cheap property. I know it'll be a cheap property just because I know the area. And I'm just kind of giving you a few little clicks just to show what's there. So we've got one here that was on Bethel Street. This was by the looks of things, a little office. But again, it's telling you how big the property is versus the actual price of it. We've got a 2-bed here on King Street, £151 a square foot. And you see on the right-hand side here, using the property data plugin, the average price in the area is £328 a square foot. And that means it is a real bargain of a property. The only downside here is the service charge is quite high, which might make it hard to get a mortgage. Normandy Tower here, again, it's already been sold, but you can see it's actually going to be 624 square foot, an average in the area so it's probably quite a bit below the market, but because it is in a tower, it is a bit cheaper than what you would expect. Burr Street, this is a commercial property to be converted, so I'll ignore that one for now. Mountbatten, we've picked up one at £230,000. It's saying it's 1,700 square foot. I don't think it is. I think it's a little bit smaller, so that might just be a little bit of an error. But it is quite a neat way to be able to identify those larger properties. And here, for example, this one is looking pretty large in size. I think they've got the wrong size in there as well. But it is quite a neat way, if you can filter through it, to work out which ones are a better price. And on the word of filter, I'm going to head over to Property Filter and show you exactly how you can use that to do the same thing. So if we just head over to Property Filter, filter and log in here, we can head straight into the back end of this. And it's quite neat because once you've managed to set up your searches, you can then go back through them and just recap over the properties that you're interested in. So say, for example, we're looking for buy, refurbish, refinance properties on here. What you can do this time round is actually sort by the lowest price per surface area. And the reason being, that is going to mean that you are looking, when you're clicking at these properties left, you can see £2,100 a square metre. This property is also back on the market. So it's the sales already fallen through, it's come back on, and the vendors reduced it. So they're certainly motivated to sell. The thing here as well, you can see this one says it's got several agents back on the market. It's failed to sell. It's just swapped between, well, evidently Abbott Fox, but you can see a sale got agreed around about 180 and it's just been sticking. But it's quite a good way to be able to identify those properties that are stuck and are actually cheap in the market and well worth buying. So the thing is, you're going to be wondering, and Tristan, you gave me the upsell at the beginning. You told me I can get this property data stuff or property filter with a 14-day free trial. And granted, I've got that most definitely for both of them, I'm pretty sure. So if you would like, I've got a link in the description below for both of those. You can head over to either of those following those links. If you're going to head over to data and try, I've used that for absolute years. And my discount code for that is ZEB. If you're going to try out Property Filter, then enter the code Tristan, and that's going to give you 50% off your first month, as well as your 14-day free trial. If you're unsure which one's worth signing up to, then I've also done a video on that, comparing the two of them. If you just look back through my videos, you'll be able to take a look there. So hopefully I've answered the question, how can you find cheap property for sale? And whether that's on RightMove, Zoopla, on the market, whether that's using data platforms or going direct to vendor, there's certainly a lot of opportunities out there. If you want to work out how to use that keyword filter I did as well using Zoopla, I've done that on another video as well. So hopefully you've liked this video, you'll subscribe to my channel. If you've got any questions, just drop them in there below, and hopefully I haven't bamboozled you too much. Cheers, guys.